going to be relatively quiet on this one because it is 5 in the morning and there is no one else but me awake. And the place is well treated, so unless I'm doing yelling, they shouldn't be able to hear me. But just in case, I still want to be respectful. Yeah, also, like, my sleep schedule got messed up because I had to be up late more and more to get some demo scripts done. I had multiple to do for people. So this is kind of normal for me now. Hopefully I can get my life back to normal. Like normal. Not this normal. The old normal. Anyway. So it is 5 in the morning on Saturday. So when you guys are going to be seeing this, basically 5 hours ago, I posted it. Well, actually, most people don't see it right when it goes up. But anyway, maybe I'll have it upload a little bit later. Maybe. But anyway, hopefully it'll still be up today. I actually wanted to talk to you guys about something that has come up a fair bit recently. It actually came up in a couple coaching sessions and a couple interviews and a couple just conversations with people, talking about some things that apparently a lot of people don't know when it comes to the industry, especially if you're working internationally like I do, meaning I work with a lot of clients that are not in the United States. In fact, most of my clients are not in the United States. And there's something that you need to know when it comes to being independent and working with a lot of people from other cultures and other countries. There's different ways that people do business. And though I can't go down the entire list of every single culture and every single country and how they all differ, your takeaway from this should be that you should be very aware. Do not go into any negotiation in voiceover with any client or potential client thinking that, especially if they're from a very different country or culture than you are, that it's going to be exactly the same, that they're going to negotiate the same, that they will respect rates the same way. It's going to be very different. For example, there's some places like Japan and Korea, the good one, that understands Western culture and does a lot of business with Western culture, so they've already adapted. So anytime I work with people from Japan or people from Singapore or people from South Korea, there's already a lot of understanding back and forth. I actually don't have to do that much learning as far as into a different way of doing business. It's still good to be aware, and it's still good to be ready for that kind of stuff. But overall, it's not that different. However, places like China and India are very, very different. Now, it's not to say that anyone's culture is better, obviously not. And it's not to say that anyone is doing something particularly wrong. Now, yes, there's lots of people that are going to be trying to price gouge or penny pinch and basically try to get stuff for free, but that's going to be everywhere. That's every country has those people. However, there are some countries, there's some cultures where negotiating is normal. India is a prime example. India and the Middle East. It's just part of their the way they grew up. Going into a store, you're basically expected to do some level of negotiation. There's a lot of cultures where the price isn't necessarily the price. And so they're used to having a back and forth. So just because you will get an email or a potential client that will want basically a back and forth and they will negotiate with you does not mean that they're penny pinching, does not mean that they are trying to get something for free or that they don't respect your time or your worth. Some do, but you should never go into any kind of negotiation expecting that just because someone's someone from a different culture, from a different country or language is being rude just because it's not the same as the way that you would negotiate or do business. Same thing with China. Now, China's a little bit different, and I don't want to get too much into the politics of it, but a lot of, and again, I have lots of Chinese clients, and there's a couple. I've worked with an agency, a Chinese agency, and I love them. They don't pay me the same rates that I would get paid here. It's not far off, but they do pay me less than I do here. But they are consistent. They're not like constantly trying to drop the rates. They did let me know in advance, like, hey, would this be okay with you? And I had to, do some evaluating and kind of come to terms with the scope of the projects that was being handed and stuff like that. And eventually I was like, yeah, okay, this would be relatively, at least close to worth my time. But that's a very common thing. India is, China is, if you get a Chinese client, they are going to expect to pay you, you should expect to get paid much less than in the United States. And it's not because they don't value you necessarily. Maybe some do. Again, you're going to find people that are not going to value you or people that are going to try to cheat you everywhere, but you might get someone from a particular country or culture that may do that, but that doesn't mean that that's what they're doing. But it is something that you should expect. So if you are trying to work international and you do want to open yourself up to the Chinese market, that's something to be aware of. That's something to expect. Now, don't let yourself get taken for advantage. Don't, basically give away your stuff for free. You have to seriously evaluate and really take into consideration everything that you're doing and would it be worth what they're offering. But I mean, you have to basically do that with every client. Just know that you have to do that a little bit more with other places. Another thing to expect is some people, some cultures don't give you all the information. That is one thing that I have learned, again, working with China, working with a lot of companies in China. And again, it's not that they're being rude. It's not that they're, refusing. It's, again, another thing that's just expected in their business, that maybe they don't understand why a voice actor would need all the information. It's their product, and I was just freelance. They're like, he doesn't need to know everything. So almost never do I ever get the project title, the project name, all the context of the scenes or the characters that I'm doing. If I'm ever going to be shortchanged on information, it's normally going to be from China. And I work a lot with interns or middlemen between me and the studio or the client, and they're from China, and they tell me, like, they wish they could give me the information. They would love to be able to give me the information, but they're not being given the information. And again, I don't want to go too far into that, and I'm not saying that they're bad for not giving me that information. It just makes things trickier. Yes, it does make negotiating a lot harder. It does make that where I need to have rock solid rates and at least a bottom line that I'm not willing to go under. It does make it a little bit more tricky. But again, they do things differently. And the reason I tell you this is there's been a lot of people that they will get clients or potential clients, message them, and they are taken aback. They're offended by the communication or the way they communicate. Try not to be offended unless it's a legitimate actual attack. Try to read the context. Also, another thing to consider is that there could be a translation error. There could be a lot of translating, and the context or the way a sentence or the way a word comes out written in text might not be intended. They are probably just being straightforward and blunt because that's how they translate. They're not using shorthand. They're not using the usual common phraseology that we would use. They don't use LOL or JK, that kind of thing. They're just, doing a direct translation of what they're trying to say, and it may come off a little bit off. It may feel a little weird. And so I've learned to, find out where they're from, and give them the benefit of a doubt. Always give them the benefit of a doubt and try to negotiate. And when communicating with them, I try to not use shorthand. I try to not use abbreviations. I try not to use LOL, JK, unless I'm also seeing them do the same thing. I try to not use any of that kind of stuff because, again, it may not translate. It may not translate well. And so I don't want to further any communication. So I'm trying to use, when I communicate with people from Singapore, India, China, Japan, where have you, any place that doesn't speak English as a first language, I always try to use full, complete sentences with proper punctuation and grammar. That way, even if they were to just put it in Google Translate, they're more likely to get a good translation of what it is I'm trying to say, and they're more likely to get the full context of what it is I'm trying to say. So you should already be in the habit of using full sentences with proper spelling and proper grammar, just as a general rule, especially when working professionally with anyone. But try to go above and beyond when it comes to people that you're not quite sure if a translation error would make things more difficult, whether for you or for them. Go above and beyond. Try to do a little bit of research. Try to give them the benefit of a doubt. Understand that there are going to be differences. Understand that there are going to be maybe some things that they just don't understand because it's not common there. I mean, there's tons of countries that don't have unions, that don't have that kind of expected structure. They don't have, like we have the union rates when it comes to voiceover. Yes, a lot of us, like me for example, don't really use them for everything that we do, but some countries don't even know what that is. There's no unions. They're not allowed to have unions. And so the idea that there would be a list of rates that are kind of set in stone for the majority doesn't exist. And it's kind of a weird concept. It might be hard for them to wrap their head around. So these are just kind of things to keep in mind. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. This is me not really giving you any kind of warning. This is just me giving you information to let you know about something that you should probably be aware of. Because I talked to a lot of people and they had no idea. They had no idea that there was going to be a huge difference between Japan and China, or the United States and Canada, or the United States and Great Britain, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, just know that there's differences. Just know that cultures are different. That know that some people do business, operate differently, and expect different things. And the best way to help them is to be patient and try your best to give full context, to explain why if they seem confused, or to be willing to negotiate, at least on some level. Now, you have to have a bottom line that you're not willing to go under, but be ready for that kind of stuff. Just be aware. Just letting you know. So anyway, yeah, that's basically it. I'm trying to be a little quiet, as you can tell. But hopefully I can start getting the ball rolling. This will be a regular thing, and I'll start putting makeup on again. But when I put makeup on, it actually breaks me out more. So I need to find better makeup, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be it. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new. Bell for notifications. And leave down in the comment section below. Like to see me cover any other topic. Totally fine. Again, my email for coaching and demo production is in the video description. So if you want to use that instead of the comment section to ask me any questions, that's totally fine. And yeah, guess I'll see you next time. Peace.